So the next priority for a digital marketing manager is to equip their team with the right language for the brand. But we've all been there. You sit down to pen that masterpiece of creative writing that will engage and inspire the masses to connect with you and your brand, and you find yourself sitting, staring blankly at the screen, devoid of inspiration. Well, Stephen King tells us in his novel on writing, don't wait for the muse. As I've said, he's not a hard-headed guy who's not susceptible to a lot of creative fluttering. This isn't the Ouija board of spirit world we're talking about here, but just another job like laying pipe or driving long-haul trucks. Your job is to make sure the muse knows where you're going, to be there from every day from 9 till noon, or 7 till 3. If he does know, I assure you that sooner or later he'll start showing up. Over years of testing, we have found that effective content includes 8 components. The best way to avoid writer's block and ensure consistency when writing for your brand is to reflect on each component and write down all of the words you think of for each one. This language toolkit, or brand lexicon, will make it easy to write interesting and compelling content. So the 8 components are: 1. Why your brand exists beyond what it sells. 2. Goals. The goals you can help your customers achieve. 3. Audience. Who you're writing for. 4. Keywords. The keywords that are going to capture your customers' questions. 5. Anxieties. Your customers' concerns and barriers to their buying. 6. Sales messages. They make your product or service great and different from other options. 7 is calls to action, the phrases that capture what you would like your reader to do. And number 8 is tone, the general character or mood you'd like the brand to convey. Once you've captured all the words you can against each of these components, you can then begin to string together scintillating sentences that readers love and that bring your brand to life. To make it easier, we've produced activities for each of these 8 components. These activities help tease out the language that truly represents your brand. On completion of the activities, we add the brand language to the brand positioning document. From this, you can then form engaging messages that represent your brand. We also circulate this to all stakeholders involved in the marketing of your business. For number 1, the why. Hopefully, you will have already defined this using activities in the brand positioning video. Write your brand's why down and have it front of your mind. Number 2, the goal, which is an understanding of the goal of the content. Before you jump into the composition, it's time to step back and clarify why this content exists. Think, what is the business's objective of the content we are writing? What do we ultimately want the user to do? What key performance indicators are we going to use to measure whether or not this content was successful? When it comes to your audience, an understanding of exactly who you're writing for, write to please just one person. If you open a window and make love to the world, so to speak, your story will get pneumonia. We love this quote from Kurt Vonnegut. Instead of trying to write for a mass of people, think of a specific individual that you are writing for. Who are they? What do they need? Why are they there? What are they looking for? Are there any environmental or cultural considerations you should make? But mostly, how can they be the hero of your story? When it comes to number 4, your keywords, which is an understanding of the keywords you'd like to target with the content. Gone are the days when you need to stuff your content full of keywords. Make sure that your content is written in a natural way and is totally focused on being useful to the person reading it. It's worthwhile considering the keywords that people might be typing in to find what they're looking for, and whether your content addresses that correctly. So think about these things. What questions do your customers need answers to? What would they search for to find that answer? What are the priority keywords we want to target? But you can read much more about keyword research in the SEO chapter later. When it comes to anxieties, which is an understanding of what barriers are for individuals, think of this. Marketers and designers need to put themselves into other people's shoes and imagine what they'd want, says Seth Godin. Our experience is that it is not how well you sell something, it is how well you address your customers' concerns about buying something. This may sound like a subtle difference, but the implications are huge. For example, we ran a test on a leaflet delivery company's call to action button. The common lowest delivery cost around was resoundingly beaten by the unassuming, reliable delivery. The reason is that in the leaflet delivery industry, there is anxiety around whether the leaflets actually get delivered. The reliable delivery message responded to what customers were actually worried about. So gearing your content to address anxieties is going to yield fantastic results. Ask yourself, what's on your customers' minds? Why don't they buy? What reasons might they have to not work with you? And what could have happened in the past that might have given them a bad experience? One of the best sources of answers to these questions is your own sales team. They spend all of their lives listening to the anxieties of customers. This often becomes such second nature that those gems don't make it through to your marketing copy. Ask your sales team for the most common questions they get asked and get them give their best responses. So here's another activity for you. 4 big questions. To investigate anxieties at a deeper strategic level and to develop your position in the market, run a workshop with key members of the team. Ask them, what is wrong with our industry? What does the industry need? What are our biggest challenges as a business? And what makes us different? Another way of helping you understand your customers and how you can answer their anxieties is to take the time to truly understand what they're buying from you. This is about the understanding and the difference between what you sell and what they buy. Think about the benefits of your products instead of their features. Armed with this knowledge, you'll be able to write content that really connects with what matters to your customers. The following examples illustrate the different ways of positioning the same product. Adidas running shoes, or a crucial piece of equipment to help you complete the marathon you've just signed up for. A 7-seater Nissan, or a safe mode of transport for your new family. The latest iPhone, or a symbol of wealth, style, and sophistication. For us at Footprint, that's our digital marketing services, but what our customer is really buying is the capability to make more money online. What we call the digital marketing audit to our clients is clarity and direction on what they should do next. So here's an activity for you so you can work out what you sell versus what your client buys. Make a list of the products you sell and compare what you sell to what the client buys. Think about how you can apply this to your own content. Sales messages, an understanding of what makes your product or service great and how you differ. So when we talk about sales messages, we mean the things that a brand says to make it sound attractive. There are sales messages that everyone in an industry uses because they are selling similar products or services. But there are also specific sales messages called USPs, unique selling points, which define the things that only your organization can do. And these differentiate you from your competition. Sales messages should be thought about at brand level, but also will be very specific to individual products and services. At this stage, we're trying to find the main general messages that are said about your brand. For Footprint, we communicate the following messages. Be more human. We believe that there is nothing you can't achieve and that together we can make it happen. We use technology to unite. In everything we do, we strive to be more human and make technology more human. Join the dots. We exist to help you see the wood and the trees. We understand our part in the whole. We get you results and educate you along the way. On your terms. An obsessive on-it approach to get you results. We investigate your business and find answers to help you achieve your goals. Clear contract terms and transparent pricing that make us easy to work with. Approach plus able. Human and processed, specialist and generalist, tactical and strategic, data-led and creative, exceptional technical knowledge, human relationships, and ruthless execution. Another activity for you is the elevator pitch. What would you say to someone that you met in a lift? What's your succinct and persuasive sales pitch? Make this about the benefit you provide to the person you are talking to rather than what you do. For example, instead of "I do digital marketing," we would say, "I help people make more money online." Another activity is the market, service, value, and product. This exercise is designed to help you define the characteristics of your market, service, value, and product, and capture the language from which you can create impactful messaging. For each of those sections, write down a few points which best describe your brand or your business. So for the market section, who do you sell to? For your service, how do you serve them? For the product, what do you do? And then the value is, why do you do it? Calls to action, the phrases you could use that state what you would like the reader to do. So you've spent the time positioning your product, your brand, and addressing your customers' fears or worries. Now you need to take them to action. What language do you use to encourage customers to take the next step? A call to action, or CTA, is the rallying cry, the nudge, the next step. It is many things, but it is a goal to drive action. A clear CTA is an essential tool to show customers what they need to do next. It should not only be the desirable action from the brand's perspective, but also represent a logical step for the user. And a call to action shouldn't always be, buy now. There are many different calls to action you can use. Here are some examples. Get started, see our pricing, contact the experts, or read more related articles. Some of the best call to actions are more like a call to purpose, but effective. Consider these pre-web examples. Dig for victory, keep calm and carry on, taste the rainbow. Each of these examples demand action and in their own way became a cultural icon. Who knew that something so seemingly simple and so small could be so impactful and iconic? The creativity and power of a well-formed call to action is hugely underrated. Often businesses don't recognize the power of great writing. What would the value of a well-crafted call to action be to your business? As a digital marketing manager, it will be your role to champion investment into it. But the context of a call to action is vitally important. Consider, for example, how a call to action will appear depending on whether it is being viewed on a smartphone or a desktop computer. Make sure the words, imagery, and design you use for your call to action is appropriate. Think about what your typical customers do on your website. Write down the simplest calls to action that reflect their likely responses. Then rewrite each call to action for each of the following audiences. A wizened grandparent, a competitive entrepreneur, a young parent pressed for time, or a competitive university student. Now think about how the language changes for each of these different calls to action. Does this speak to your audience any better or worse than your initial selection? Remember, test and measure always and forever. Voice, the general character or mood you would like the brand to impart. So think, what is the voice of your brand? How do you want people to perceive it? Cool, sophisticated, trustworthy, knowledgeable? The voice you adopt and present yourself with is key to creating this feeling with your audience. Their perception should relate to your core values and your why. It should tell the hero's story, follow the hero's journey, share the hero's accomplishments. It is, in a way, everything. Finding a voice which works for you and is achievable can often be a challenge. A voice which isn't realistic or authentic can be spotted a mile off. Most brands are spooked by this and opt not to have a discernible tone or personality beyond business formal. So remember, be yourself. The real art of defining a voice which works for you is establishing something that is real, is consistent with your values, and something you don't have to work for. Part of the challenge of defining your voice is first to listen. How do you and other team members sound when you're at your best? What words do you use, and what kind of conversations do you have with your stakeholders? When defining our voice at Footprint, we looked at the traits we wanted our team to have. We hire for them, we train with them in mind, they describe us through and through. They are approachable, helpful, they're human, insightful, and enthusiastic. Ask yourself this: how would you describe your voice currently? What words do you use when communicating with your stakeholders? What words don't you use? Look at the language on your website. your print work, and your social media. Then have a go at the following. How do you want your customers to describe you? What words would you like to use? And ask yourself, how do these two lists differ? How can you begin to converge the two lists in a way which is achievable?